Patty Vaughan was born Patty Brightwell on August 17, 1964, to parents Patsy Wallace and Billy Brightwell. Patty graduated high school in Okinawa before getting married on May 18, 1985, to Jerry Ray Vaughan, known as JR, in San Antonio, Texas. Between 1986 and 1990, Patty gave birth to 3 children. Patty doted on her kids and did everything possible to give them a happy childhood. During that time, the family moved to several cities, including Portland, Maine, Athens, Georgia, and Stafford, Virginia, due to her husband's work in construction. In December 1990, the family settled down in Vernia, Texas. Patty was a devout Christian and enjoyed singing in her church choir. She was a stay-at-home mum, but with 3 children, her hands were always full. However, over time, their relationship hit problems. JR had become more and more controlling of Patty. She was prohibited from working outside of their home, and he was often demeaning towards her. In October 1996, Patty and her husband began a 6-month trial separation when their marriage began to fall apart. During that time, JR moved into an apartment in San Antonio, Texas. Patty remained with her 3 children at the couple's residence on Oak Park Road, and she returned to working as a secretary at a local electric company. It appeared the trial separation was working well for her, and in December 1996, she reconnected with a former boyfriend, Gary. He and Patty had dated many years before, and now he had recently become divorced. On December the 24th, 1996, Patty brought her children to a family gathering at Christmas Eve. Her new boyfriend, Gary, also came along, and she introduced him to her family for the first time. On Christmas Day, 1996, she had planned to let her husband come over to celebrate Christmas with the kids. That evening, she would then drop them off at her cousin's in San Antonio, as she planned to go on a date with her boyfriend. However, those plans didn't come to fruition, as that morning Patty and JR would argue, presumably over a new-found relationship. After JR and Patty had their blowout fight on Christmas, loved ones had stopped by to see the mum for the holiday, but according to the family, JR claimed that she was sick and couldn't see them. Her sister said that when they stopped by, JR said Patty wasn't feeling well and she was in her bedroom. The sister claimed that JR gave the phone to Patty, who sounded upset and like she had been crying. The sister, who was 18 and living in Georgia at the time, said she spoke to Patty earlier in the day, but cops and other family members say that the tearful phone call was the last time anyone, aside from JR, spoke to Patty. JR would then drop their 3 children off with his sister for the night. According to her husband, their argument later blew up during that evening. Patty reportedly stormed out of the house around 6:30 p.m, grabbing her keys and purse, and drove off in their minivan. She never returned and has not been seen since. On December the 26th, 1996, Patty's cousin filed a missing persons report with the sheriff's office when she couldn't contact her. On the same day, JR moved back into the house he'd recently vacated and filed for a divorce from his now missing wife. The next day, a little after lunchtime, the blue 1991 Dodge Caravan was spotted on the side of the road on Texas State Highway, about 15 miles from Patty's house and 5 miles from the electric company where she worked. There was evidence to suggest it had been parked there shortly before it was discovered. One of the tyres had been deliberately deflated, and forensic tests found traces of what turned out to be Patty's blood around the back seat and the van's sliding door. Investigators also noted that the carpet appeared to have been shampooed. A pile of clothing was found inside the vehicle, including a red workman jumpsuit usually associated with clothes worn by an auto mechanic or plumber. Her keys and purse were never recovered. On December the 29th, investigators searched Patty's residence and found blood evidence using the chemical substance luminol. Strong reactions were found on the walls, floor and the closet of her bedroom. Tests revealed that blood had recently been cleaned from the bedroom floor, and there were traces of blood on a mop and bucket in the garage. DNA testing determined that the blood found inside the house and her vehicle belonged to Patty. Gary, her new boyfriend, claimed he hadn't seen Patty since Christmas Eve and provided an alibi for Christmas Day. Corroborated with investigators, he also passed a lie detector test. Cops said he later died in a car crash, and he wasn't found to be a viable suspect in the case. During the investigation, JR told police that Patty left the house alone on the evening of December the 25th, 1996. He believed she left him deliberately and denied any wrongdoing in her disappearance. He became less cooperative with the investigation, refusing to take a lie detector test and hiring a defense attorney right away. JR also initially refused to allow his children to submit DNA to aid in the search. He was also absent from all searches for his missing wife. JR was a building contractor at the time of his wife's disappearance and had been working on 2 new schools in the area. Both building sites were searched, but didn't reveal any clues as to Patty's whereabouts. On February the 10th, 1997, Patty's mother was arrested for breaking into JR's home and beating him with a baseball bat. She was charged with burglary and assault with a deadly weapon. In 2005, JR had Patty declared legally dead, allowing him to collect on her life insurance. Her family filed a civil wrongful death suit in response, and a judge ruled that the insurance money would be held in a trust for the couple's children. JR later moved out of the state and now resides in Colorado. He lives with his 3 children and has reportedly changed his name.